is correct.
You ready? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, this week, I mean, we learned a lot, but I wanted to share specifically actually what stood out to me. Not all of it was what we discussed in the class. I mean, yeah, we did talk about the anon systems and escalation and whatnot. We talked a lot about standardizing. But what stood out to me was more relational things. So I had to write down a few notes. I've been taking notes throughout the whole course actually, but I don't always take the notes of what the person's saying, but I write down what pops into my head because they might have reminded me of something, or I just view it a different way and something pops into my head, so I write it down. And first off, and this is something Andy's talked to us several times about, and that was, what can I do? What can I do to create standard work? What can I do to coach and develop? What can I do to recognize improvements? What can I do to eliminate waste? And then what can I do to spread the word and teach others? And then one of the things that he challenged us on, though, was, what am I going to do different? And I realized this week, like, now that I know all of this, all these notes all over the wall, now that I've experienced this, gone through this with you guys, I've had all this teaching and knowledge imparted to me, I've had the principles just taught to me over and over again. And I can't just take it and be like, wow, that's really cool, let me just put that back here and go about my day. I can't. So what am I going to do different? How am I going to actually be changed as a result of this class? I'm still working on that, by the way, Andy. I've had some of my values challenged this week. I appreciate the challenge. It is a struggle. It is a struggle. One of the other things that I thought about is, how can I facilitate and bring about change when I go back, when I'm with my team? And I was talking with Andy yesterday during lunch, and I said, what can I do to bring about change so that, yes, we do celebrate our victories, we recognize accomplishments, but how do we celebrate the awareness of a failure, where we fall short of something, rather than try and hide it like is our typical culture? Sweep it under the rug, work a little harder, maybe work a little longer that day, just to make sure everything's okay. How do we celebrate the fact that we recognize that's a failure now? Because that is an opportunity to improve. It's an opportunity to change. And getting people to recognize it is going to be a victory. And it will give us the opportunity to change it, to fix it as a team, and turn that failure into a victory. That's an entirely different way of looking at the same problem. How am I going to facilitate that with my team? And then, in the last 2 days with us doing these people skills, and us talking with each other, kind of saying, guys, I'm really not good at this one. How do I change my value system? How do I value my team for who they are instead of what they can do for me? And I think that if I'm able to change the way that I value them, and I value them for them as a person or as a team, not what they can do, that's really when I'm going to be able to actually celebrate the recognition of the failure. Because if I only value my team for what they can do for me, I encourage them to hide shortcomings. I encourage them to, oh crap, the boss is coming, quick, shove this to the side. I reinforce that behavior if I only value them for what they can do. If I value them for who they are, when we see a failure, they won't be afraid to show it to bring it to me. Because they know that it's not gonna reflect on them and on their value. And so that's how I'm gonna bring about that change, is I'm gonna change the way that I value people. And again, that's something that I have to change in myself, the way I value people. And by me changing myself, I'm going to be able to influence the culture of my team. And then lastly, while we were doing these 20 people skills that you need to succeed at work, I'll be honest, I thought I was great at people skills. I can read people real well. What I do with that information shows me that I wasn't valuing them. I was looking at the person, evaluating them, figuring out what they're like, so I could figure out how to get what I want out of them. That's not valuing a person. That's only valuing what I can get. And that's wrong with me. And so when we went through all 20 of these skills, and we had to list out our 3 ones that we're really bad at. So I wrote on my piece of paper, 3 lowest scores, comma, or maybe 4 or 5. Because as I started writing down, I was like, you know what? I don't relate well to others. I don't really value people all that much. I've always had this mentality of, I want to be right. I don't want to be right by just forcing it on others. I want to figure out what the right thing is, and then I want to do it, and then that way it makes me right. But it still was all about me and me being right, which means that the other people around me, I don't care about them. I don't value them. I don't relate to them. I don't trust them because I'm right. So why would I even bother trying to trust you in something? Just sit down and we do it. I got this. And so it was very good the way you guys challenged me on how I can start working on that. And how working on the one skill was going to cascade into the next, into the next, into the next. And it was just one step at a time. And that is something I'm going to be working on. I took the time and I sent some emails out this week, and I made some phone calls, and I was like, I've realized that I have always treated you this specific way, and I've kind of run over you in this manner and whatnot, and I apologize. Would you please help me work on it? Tell me when I'm doing it. So I'm starting to bring about that change. I've asked, friends and family to help me on that. But the biggest thing that stood out to me in this whole skills thing is what Bob said yesterday. That in this class, when we talk about team building and teamwork, that we, all in this room, have become a team. And when we do our word exercises describing each other, no one's negative about it. No one says anything negative about the other person. It's only positive, positive, positive. And in doing that, we have been able to enact change in each other without ever once saying, you are wrong, this is not the way to do it. Do it this way. I mean, yeah, you can enact change that way, but it's not going to be lasting change. It's not going to be change in which people are happy about. They'll change simply so they can stop getting beat up over it. But doing this and encouraging each other and actually coming together as a team in an only positive manner, we've changed each other. And thank you for that. Thank you for being part of that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.